is Pastor Dirk Wilner, and we're doing the life of Jesus. We're in chapter 5, so have a look at your journals in chapter 5, and it's all about the miracles of Jesus. The interesting thing about the miracles of Jesus, as you have a look over your page, is that there's this little quote here from Luke chapter 7. And there's an interesting question. Are you the one? The question is, with all the things that Jesus claims to have said, so there's lots of teaching, but the interesting thing is that they're still not quite convinced. Are you the one they're asking? And Jesus responds to, check out what I've been doing. And then it goes on to explain some incredible miracle things happening. The blinds receive their sight. The lame walk. The lepers are cleansed. The deaf hear. The dead are raised. The poor have good news brought to them. Isn't it interesting that Jesus, his teachings, and Jesus, his actions connect? Something very important is there about when Jesus is talking about, I'm here to bring you good news. It's not just about what we hear, it's also about what we experience. And so the important thing about faith and experience need to connect. Here we have something very important in this page. Some people believe in miracles and others don't. I'm reading around here at the moment. And some say there's a logical explanation to everything that happens, and others say there are mysteries that cannot be explained. What do you think about miracles? Because that's our topic today. Miracles happen all the time. There's an interesting quote right at the back of your page when you have a look at the time where you do your quiz at the end of the week, and there you have Pablo Picasso. Who's he? Did you ever find out who Pablo Picasso is? Well, he said this: miracles are not contrary to nature, but only contrary to what we know about nature. Isn't that interesting? That's an interesting definition about what is a miracle. Miracles happen all the time. When I think about miracles, one of the first things that I experienced as a pastor was often being asked in times of crisis to pray for people. I mean, it comes with a job. You're involved and you're invited into people's crisis times when they're really saying, is there an answer? Is there help? Is there a way out of all of this? My first experience of that was an invitation to these people who flew in from the country to the city, and I was called in because their child had just been admitted with a hole in the heart, and it was, touch and go and all of this kind of stuff. So they wanted to have an emergency baptism. We prayed for the child, and I kept in touch with them from day to day to see what happened. We had that wonderful time to have baptism when the child was stable. And then as the child kind of, things went okay, they admitted it from the emergency over to the children's ward. When they went over to the children's ward, they did all the tests again and found that nothing of the sort was there. They hadn't even done the operation yet, and from one emergency to the other, something miraculous happened. How would you explain that? So when we're talking about miracles happen all the time. And sometimes the miracle is actually with what the doctors are able to do. That in itself is miraculous, the way that we can do things on our human body to fix things. And think about it, that we use miracles all the time, we just don't think about it. Hold on. Say for instance, the way that we use medicine. Isn't it interesting how we figured out that our body works with chemicals, and if you put certain chemicals in, they can change the way we feel. Like if you've got a headache, you take a headache tablet, there's something about how it affects the nerves and the headache goes away, and you sort of think, wow, was that a miracle? Was that science? Was that a way of putting things together? And so when we're thinking about miracles are really a wonderful way of intervening into our situation and bringing out a positive result, which means that we actually have miracles happening all the time, all around us. Think about the writings that you have here about what they're saying about miracles. So as you turn over the page, so what? It's an interesting question. Dismiss Jesus as a mystic, a mass hypnosis expert, or a master of manipulation, there are all sorts of things. Is he a liar? Was he, a lunatic? All of that kind of stuff. Was he disillusioned by his own kind of wonderful way or was he actually the person that he said he was? God come down to do something in our lives, and therefore that question here, are you the one or should we look for another? Have a look then at the role plays on this page. I like this one here. A friend's little sister is diagnosed with a brain tumor. I've had one of those as well when asked for prayer. She comes to you and asks, do you believe in miracles? Will God heal my sister if I have enough faith? What would you say to that? That's an interesting question around your kitchen table discussion now. There's another one here. Someone says Jesus didn't do miracles. The disciples made all of that up. How would you respond to that? Miracles, do they validate what Jesus was saying? Or do the miracles actually just tell us, hey, what we have here with what Jesus is saying is the result of good news in our lives? So how would you define a miracle? There's some other kind of things for you to do. Make sure that you finish off with a faith 5, your highs, your lows, pray with one another, bless one another, and then during the week you can have a look at your daily devotional time. Towards the end, remember your quiz, get mum and dad to ask you some questions. Here you might even want to write down some terms, your own definitions on what does it mean to be blind, lame, leper, miracle, poor. When Jesus talks about, these are the things that were obviously evidence that Jesus had come to change lives, change them in the way that they experience them. So have a little bit of fun with figuring out what is the role of miracles in our life, and have you experienced one? How about you ask your parents if they have?